All right, kids, we're going to do the sharing thing. I'll be right back. Assuming I can share it, actually. That's what I thought. Let's not do that then. All right, copy. Yikes. All right, I'm back. I'm just going to share this out to the Facebook world. So bear with me while we do that for uno momento. And then we can have a chat. Open line Friday. I don't know what that means, but I think it means we're going to get you to ask questions, and I'll try and answer them. And we'll talk about some of the stuff we've been playing this week and have planned to play. Let's press Control V. And probably say something like, I'm live now. All right, there we go. All right, the heck with all that promo nonsense. Let's do this real quick. Bear with me for one more second, because I thought, hey, might as well put it here. Why not spam the world and see if we can't get a few homeboys in on the action? Where is my other group? I have a group here somewhere. There we go. That's probably rude enough. All right. Okay. One person is here. Say hi, damn it. What up? I want to talk about a whole bunch of stuff tonight, and just in general have a chat about wargaming and expectations in wargaming and how and feelings. I want to talk about feelings too, because feelings are important. It seems that there are a lot of feelings being hurt in the hobby at the moment, depending on what the blogger du jour is saying. So I thought I'd jump in and share my 2 cents worth. I was chatting with a buddy of mine online just now, and he was saying that the little inebriated rant I did the other night was, look, I have that little logo behind there is not supposed to be there because I pay for this software. I hate that. My inebriated rant that I had about pink counters caused concern and discombobulation in the MMP cognoscenti, because I was upset about pink counters. Well, it wasn't just pink counters for Iron Curtain. There was pink counters for Compass Games and pink counters for well, actually, it's another MMP game. The Last Stand actually has salmon-colored counters for the Soviets. But it was a little bit of fun. And by the way, that was me coming home after having several cocktails and had been thinking about this, but also celebrating the fact that I am about to embark upon a new endeavor professionally. And I was very excited about it and very enthusiastic, and I felt a little chippy. So, my apologies if your feelings were hurt, and, and it pains me that you had to suck down the extra oxygen through your little mask and, wheel the friggin' wheelchair over to the vomitorium to throw up and be offended by me. So I apologize for that. I really just want to get that, sort of off the table. And then we can talk about war games, and you guys can all just piss off and go do your thing, right? Because I don't need you over here, bro. Don't watch. But thanks for watching, but don't watch. Right, so what's been going on? I'm playing Carrier, the solo Pacific war game, and I'm having really good fun, but I've been so busy with stuff that I really haven't had a chance to dig into it much. I've got maybe 7 or 8 turns under my belt. I've written up 2 or 3 of them. I'm very interested in how things all work out and what's going to happen. So stay tuned for more activity in that regard. I'm really excited about that game. I think it's got lots of potential, but I have not yet got Kinetic We have not had vicious combat between opposing forces yet, because I've been a chicken shit with the Americans and not let them be found. I'm trying to adjust this light so that I don't feel like I am in the dark here as I talk to myself. Is there a way that I can see what's going on and not see myself? Because that would make me happy. How do I do that? I don't know. Anyway, that's been pretty cool. It's a little bit of a convoluted rule book, and hopefully there's a new module coming out for it by the same designer. It's Sutherland or something like that. I forget the guy's name. Detailed guy like me. Super excited about that too, because with updated counters, better map graphics, cleaner rule book, more concise charts, it's going to be awesome. Now I'm using Gary Crockover's fantastic new rendition of Carrier with, I don't have his map, but I do have his rules that he gave me and his charts as well. But if you were a vassal player or even a physical player, you can order his big map that he prints out on canvas or vinyl or something like that and play Carrier with this gloriously beautiful map that he's redone painstakingly. It's fantastic. It looks really, really, really cool. You can download the Vassal module and check it out and have a look at it. So Gary Crockover has been doing that. He runs a cool little group called Wargame Map Art or Wargame Art or something like that. It's pretty nifty. I'd encourage you to check it out. It's very cool. So there's that. That's like, who knows, like 6 minutes of bullshit just about Carrier, and I haven't played a turn in 3 weeks. So I did go to the mountains a few weeks ago to deliver furniture and things like that to a shared family house up there. And while I was up there, because I took a week off, I got to play Beyond the Rhine, Time for Trumpets scenario, where I got 2 or 3 turns of that done. I played a battle for Great Battles of History, a big monster scenario from one of the Diadoche efforts, one of the battles there in the Art of War, the Macedonian Art of War. That was super cool. Really enjoyed that a lot. So that is goodness. I've started posting most of that content now, so you're probably just seeing that come out on YouTube and whatnot. So that was goodness, and it really refreshed my appreciation for Great Battles of History in particular, because the way in which combat works in that game just feels kind of right to me. I know there's a lot of people that some people complain about the finite nature of the phalanx and all this sort of stuff, and some of the ratings on units and whatnot. But overall, when you play the game, you certainly feel like you're playing not fantastic. You're playing this ancient era battle. You're not playing a great Civil War campaign game. You're not playing great battles of an American Civil War. You're not playing a Napoleonic game. You really are playing with dudes with pointy sticks and pointy swords, and you know that that's what you're playing, and the command structure works for it and all that sort of stuff. So it's an amazing package of stuff in that game. So super, super thrilled that I got to experience that and really just dig into it too, and just take my time and think about it, because I was by myself and all I had to do was cook steak and mushrooms and have a little cocktail every now and then. And I did some work out in the yard and put furniture together and cut down some trees and bits and pieces. It was awesome time. So I got to really think about that gameplay significantly. Now, the Beyond the Rhine gameplay was interesting because I screwed it up significantly. I totally messed up the whole snow weather impact on terrain. And of course, the Germans got too far, and then the Americans were able to go too fast to react. and it got messy and screwed up. So after a painstaking, overwhelmingly long setup, I mean, it's every bit as painful to set up as the what's that other game from OCS, the Blitzkrieg Legend. It's as difficult as that to set up almost. There's a lot of units on the map. So that was fun, nevertheless. We learned some things there. I've been playing Opposed. You've probably seen some videos and content on that. Tunisia 2. In fact, we had a abortive gameplay session because one session got messed up by a cleaning lady, and then we restarted. And both times I tried to take a very aggressive tack with the Germans because I felt like time was not on their side. And so it was really a case of either you win quick, like kill a bunch of guys and make the dude that you're playing against want to quit, or you fail. And then it's over in 10 turns or less. And that's what happened. It was over in 10 turns or less because I failed. But I got really close. And if I had to pay just a little more attention and maybe we didn't have as many breaks in between gameplay, which was all my fault, we could have, I think we could have almost isolated an enormous swag of Commonwealth units, and that would have really put a difficult spin on the game for the Commonwealth. They would have been rolling for attrition pretty significantly, so that would have been really cool. Anyway, so that had been fun. I've got some more posts coming on that. And then I wanted to check in with my gameplay today. So I got together today with a friend of mine, Norman, and we played the Shelled campaign. And, you know, I wish I could, I wonder if I can, hang on, let me see if I can do this real quick here. Hang on one sec, guys. Now it's asking me to log in. Just bear with me for 1 minute. I want to see if I can pop some pictures up on the screen behind me and see if that will work. Let's see if we can make that happen. Just bear with me for 1 second here while we do the LAMO administrivia. So I'm logged in there. Let's add a background, add a media file, and go to camera uploads by date. And of course, my Dropbox has not updated all the pictures, so let's see if we can well, poop. All right. I'm going to, here we go. I'm going to, nope. Yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this update come in. Oh, I know. I closed Dropbox. Don't. Fastest way to lose viewers is to spend the time staring at the screen and squinting, saying, what the freaking hell is going on? All right, let's see if that works. I'm going to give that a second, and I'm going to pivot to talking about, he said, whoa, hey now. Hang on 1 second. For a moment, I thought I had crashed my PC there, and that was bad. Or crashed my session. So I'm going to just real quick just pivot to, here it is. No, I'm not. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to open this image here. Right. this will do for a background, and then you guys can check this out a little bit, just a little bit. So this is the Shell campaign. It's one of the Hollenspiel's earlier titles. It's by Brian Train, and it's got a really interesting system, but there were some challenges with it that we had, and we were a little unsure if we were playing it right. Went back and did some revision, double checked, and all the rest of it. And it seems like we kind of got it down mostly right. What we're looking at is the canvas sort of upgraded map, but it's not the full size of the standard, the game that comes in the box. It's actually smaller, and so the counters don't really fit in the hexes. So that's the first issue that we discovered that we're a little disappointed with. And the second was that because of the artwork, or for some reason, the color scheme is completely different from the original in the box, and some of the terrain features are very, very difficult to read on this canvas map. So I would have to say, unabashedly, don't buy this upgraded map for however much it is, $14 or $10 or $7. So I don't care how much it is. Just don't get it, because counters don't fit in the hexes, and it's kind of crap, right? It's not good. Second thing, and the original map is just fine. I would stick with that. It's great. It works perfectly. We'd already set up, too late to change, so we just carried on. But second thing was, there are these, you use these task force boxes on a chart, and those task forces give you the ability to, it's kind of like a hidden information thing. So it gives you the ability to hide what you have in a given hex. And some of the background artwork on that is interfering with the ability to read what the divisions are. So it felt like, from a user experience standpoint and from a consumption as an end user, the ability to visually see what was going on. Is that the 59th or is that the 89th task force? You can't read stuff because you can't see it, because it's black on black. And you've got to, my buddy was literally, okay, hang on a second, grabbing his phone, turn the light on it, and then peering, standing up, leaning over, peering at the chart, because he didn't know which was which. Now, of course, after a while, you're going to get into a rhythm of knowing that that is indeed the 59th and the 89th is over here, or whatever the case may be, and that's all good, right? But just from a functional standpoint, it kind of sucked. So those two things were a detraction. And then we went into combat, or movement and the mechanics and all the rest of it. And there's this really awesome idea that everything's based on the G1, G2, G3, G4 roles inside of an organization. So, G2 is going to be your intelligence, and G4 is going to give you some strategic capabilities and calling in air assets or artillery assets if you're the Germans, and G3 is going to allow you to do combat and movement and stuff like that. And I may have those around the wrong way, but I don't have the rules in front of me, so I'm making it up as I go along. But the point is, you have this pool of chits, and you pick, if you're the Germans, you pick 4. If you're the Soviets, if you're the Canadians or the Commonwealth, you pick 7, and you play those for your turn. And what order you play them in is up to you, and how many times a unit moves is really up to you. So you could do the same task force multiple times. So great idea, right? Or you can, when you're about to go into combat, you can say, okay, I'm in a hidden way, I'm going to use my G4 and bring in air support and get 3 extra dice in the combat, and we'll get to combat in a sec. And or I'm going to take a tactical advantage because I use my G2, my intel guy, to build up the recon and all these other abstract concepts. I'm going to use that chit for this turn, or maybe I've got 2 of them in there, who knows, right? But I use them to give me tactical advantage, which means I get to shoot first as the attacker. It's kind of neat, unless you're negated by the opposition, who has a G2 and he plays a G2 thinking that you might play G2. Interesting, right? So there's a game within a game with all of that. So we're thinking, well, this is really cool. And so we get started, and then the very first combat comes up. And I don't know. It's the 51st British Division. It's got like a bazillion units in it, and I'm the defender, and I go, oh, I'm playing the G2 chit, and I roll that bad boy out, and he used the G4 chit, not that he needed it. So I got to go first. So I didn't use anything else. So I just got to go first. Well, I had one unit with 2 hits on it and 2 other units in the hex. And I think I rolled a total of 5 dice. And on a 5, you hit. And on a 1d6. And then on a 6, you do 2 hits. So I think I was like, I rolled a 6 and a 5. So I did 3 hits. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's cool. Well, how many dice you got? Because his hits, my hits on him count for that combat. So he applies his losses and he nets them out, and he goes, oh yeah, okay. So I got 27 dice. I went, what? What? So he now, the good news is you can take half the losses and use them. You have to take half the losses as losses, and then the rest you can do as retreats. Well, we stopped rolling after the 15th die or something like that, and I just said, look, it's all good. I'm good. I'm dead, right? Or whatever, right? I mean, there were so many hits that it wasn't going to matter. So it's like, okay, maybe that was lucky. Let's keep going. So we played another 3 or 4 turns, and really for the German player, unless you want to do that sort of delay, right, detailed thinky delaying action and trying to work out how to extricate your units to safety or something like that. Let me just mute my PC because I'm getting pinged by people here. It's a little tedious for the German player, and I tried a couple of counterattacks and they went horribly wrong. Played defense, brought on units. So really, with 4 chits, you take 1 G2 or 1 G4, and you take 3 G1s and bring in replacements, and you're just trying to replace steps constantly to compensate for the massive casualties. And if I'm the Allies, there's the cool part of the game is you're thinking, okay, now what's my mix of G1 through G4 going to be, and how am I going to maximize the damage and the carnage that I can do and isolate units from retreating so that I can win this game. The trick is, I think, in the game for the long haul, it's a 32 turn game or thereabouts, is that you have a lot of objectives as the Canadians that you have to achieve in a relatively short period of time. But based on our progress on the eastern side of the map, I think it was. I was looking at it in reverse and upside down. It was probably, I would have said by turn 10 or better, Canadians would have cleared the eastern portion of the land masses in that area of the canals and all that polder and all that stuff, swamps and things. And then they would have then been able to focus on the island. There's an island there, and I couldn't see. We just kind of looked at each other and went, yeah, are we doing this right? And we went back over the rules and double checked everything. But there wasn't a combat. Now, here's what can happen, I think, is that you might do 3 or 4 combats with 3 or 4 different task forces over the first 3 or 4 turns. You're going to take enough losses typically, because it's a pretty big spread, even with 5 or 6 dice, doing 5s and 6s with 2 hits on 6s. You could get lucky and get a couple of 6s and then start chipping away at the at the Canadians and the British and attrit them enough that they've got to pause, rebuild, bring more replacements in, and then continue. So that puts the time pressure on the Canadians to a certain extent. But I don't know that it's a lot of fun for the player. So when I was playing, I felt like, with my opponent, I felt like, well, this would be a really cool solo game, and I could certainly see how it would be awesome as a solo game, actually. And you play the Canadians, and you've got to do better than history, or play as the Germans and do better than history, and then having some sort of AI to manage the choice of G1 through G4 and whether you take losses or retreat and whatever the case might be. But it didn't feel like it was super solid for a two-player game. The combat system just felt kind of wonky. Like, I just don't understand how that was decided upon to represent what happened, with my lack of historical knowledge about what specifically happened there. I don't know that I can comment whether it's right or wrong in terms of loss ratios against history, but it just feels a little odd that some dude is picking up 30 dice and rolling them, and I'm picking up 5 and rolling them. And even if I was on the other side, I don't know that I'd feel good about that either. It felt super gamey from that perspective. So anyway, I think I like it, but I don't know that it's just kind of quirky and odd, and it's a Brian Train game, and it's kind of out there on left field for Brian versus his normal designs, and I just don't know where that's coming from. So you should try it for, pick up a copy secondhand or buy a copy, give it a shot, see what you think. And then let me know, because I love to know what people think about it. All right, so there's that. I've got I got a chance to look at the new Vietnam game from GMT, Mitchell Land's game today. My buddy had already received his. Thanks, GMT, by the way. Loving the love. Any day now would be great. And then Time for Trumpets is coming. Bruno's opus, his swan song for Bulge Games, and I'm reluctant to start anything significant or complicated that's going to take a lot of time, because I know those two games are coming, and they're high on my hit list. So I got those coming, but in the meantime, I'm playing Iron Curtain, right? And I'm quite enjoying it, despite I understand that there's, as I said, like there's all this drama over on Carl Fung's page, from all the MMP stuff shirts that I got upset about pink counters, but whatever. My video about the game stands for gameplay and historicity and all the rest of it. I'm setting up the 75 scenario right now, even though I said it's a 72 scenario in the last video. 75. Just going to do the Soviets, and I'll get through that this weekend. I'll probably crank that out this weekend, play that in full. I'm sure we'll get to a point where it's a stopping point in 4 or 5 or 6 turns. It's a 10-turn scenario. So we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll be able to compare, right? What happened in 62? What happened in 75? What's different? You can already see the air war is going to be different. You can see that the nuclear escalation will be different. The chem war can potentially be different. We've learned some lessons from 62, so we'll be taking those to the table. We'll see. It'll be interesting. So I want to crank on that bad boy. I've got Arate set up as well. I'm struggling with. I thought I had it all squared away for op sheets and things, but now as I'm digging into it, I'm thinking, well, I really need to rethink how I'm going to handle artillery in that game and who should have control of the artillery initially. So I'm doing a little bit of rethinking on that, but that's ready to roll. and that's on a that's a one map, and that's separate. I also have so that's this game. It's going to be all back to front, right? No. You can't see it anyway, but there you go. There's that. We're playing that. That's set up. I got the op sheet. Now I know you're supposed to. I do the op sheets. I break the rules. Let's see. I've got the op sheet. I've got everybody on the one op sheet, but it's really multiple options. Why are you doing this, stupid computer? Fuck it. Anyway, I got the op sheets. Whatever. I'm reading the rules for Salerno to Rome. My buddy's just played it and is enjoying it and has concerns about the English translation. I think that I don't know if there was a. Let me see. Yeah, that is not a single person who is a native English speaker here, and that's probably a problem, right? Based on his feedback so far. So I'm reticent to get dug into this and have it take a while. He said the turns take quite a while, so that may get tabled. I may have to push that out a little bit, probably to next year. So we'll see, unless I get a chance to stay home over Christmas break and not have to travel for vacation. Maybe I can send my family on vacation and I can stay home. So I may give that a shot. We'll see. I have District Commander from Brian Train, District Commander Kandahar, ready to roll. I'm super pumped about this. I love this system. It's highly abstract, but if you're a fan of coin games, you need to be playing this. This is far away better than the coin system that comes from GMT, in that it's a little more concise. It's a little less. It feels a little less Euro-y, less place a block, take a block, place a block, take a block, play a card, play an event. There's none of that bullshit. This is I'm sorry, there are none of those mechanics. That's what I meant to say. What this game does is tries to make you think in the two different frames of mind for the gameplay for the opposing asymmetrically opposed forces, and then make hard choices about which resources you're going to allocate and where you're going to invest your effort, because it has a similar concept to the Shelled campaign, where you have these chits that you choose which result, which number you're going to apply to a given activity, whether it be kinetic or non-kinetic, and so if you want to apply a 5 to a kinetic combat, you can, or if you want to apply a 1, you can. You get to sort of choose the die roll type of thing, and then the opponent has got to choose his die roll type of thing, right? Because you're not pulling, you're placing a chit to reflect that. I need some more water. I've been in conference calls all week this week, like a lot. Like a lot. Like 20 hours of conference calls this week. It's ridiculous. And stressful ones at that. I'm really excited to get this to the table. So that's going up regardless of what's going to happen. So I'm going to use the one game table to crank on some sort of pseudo faster playing games. I picked up a copy of the Epic of the Peloponnesian War because I saw, and I posted pictures on the blog if you want to see it, and Facebook. But I really think this could be a really cool game, and I want to give it a shot. But it's going to be a longer term endeavor, so I'm going to have to table it. I've read the rules, I get it, ish, sort of. So we'll see. But that's going to be next somehow as well. And then as soon as if I got time for trumpets next week, Monday through Wednesday sometime, I think I would set that up and try and demolish the rules. I'm a little worried about the rule book for that game, to be quite honest. I hope it's more consumable than it was when I first did a play test with Bruno. having guided play is one thing, but understanding why and how the rules work and then playing it by yourself is another. So I'm a little nervous about that game, but having goofed around with it, is it a year ago or 2 years ago? Probably 2 years ago. I'm hoping that some of it comes back to me and I can play the friggin' thing, because otherwise, because there's a lot of chrome in that game that should be amazingly awesome, but could be massively bad, just because there's so much of it, right? So we'll see. We'll see how that works. If that game doesn't turn up, I think I'm going to set up 1985 Under an Iron Sky again, and I'm going to run through the campaign and give that bad boy another shot. Since I played Deadly Northern Lights now, and there's a new sort of updated rule book that's come out, I'm super excited to get that back on the table. And I keep seeing people posting about it. Stop posting about that freaking game, because I'm getting goofy excited. So I've got the scenario book out. I'm flipping through thinking, well, maybe I play a small scenario. I'm like, oh, well, screw that, because I know how to hack the small scenarios. I'm going to play a big one. So I'm leaning in on playing a larger scenario there. I've got the new rules squared away here. And so that's what's been going on. I know that's a kind of a 36-minute ramble about stuff, but I wanted to do two things. I wanted to share with you a live update on what's going on, number one. Number two, I probably should have scheduled this, because there's like 2 people watching and none of you have commented, so screw you. But I wanted to do a catch up and also just kind of rebut the pissiness of some folks about me not liking pink counters. I don't like pink counters for Soviets, so there's that. It is what it is. But I got to say, I am super excited and thrilled with a lot of the games that are coming out now. Like The Last Stand Moscow, despite the salmon-colored counters, the game looks awesome. I got to have a good look at that today. Clean rule book, beautiful map, beautiful counters, mostly. And charts on the map are clean and tight. The rule, it looks like it's going to be a super fast playing game for Operation Typhoon. I'm pissed I didn't keep my pre-order with MMP for that, and I forgot to reorder because that game just took so long to get to us that I gave up on it. So I canceled out. But I'll pick up a copy secondhand, I think. But I think it's going to be a really awesome game. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff coming out right now, and despite my niggles about things and my thoughts on things, because I always kind of have that mindset that, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this was a little bit better or a little bit different or whatever, or we could have done this. There's that side of me, and there's also the side of me that is like, well, this is kind of fubard and you screwed it up a lot. So we need to do better in that regard. But the rest of it is awesome. There's some really amazing stuff coming out. I'm so geeked for Twilight 2000 to come out, the RPG. I'm super geeked for some of Vento Nuovo's new titles coming out. Thin Red Line Games has a new title, Dogs of War, coming. GMT's got a bunch of real war games coming out. MMP still keeps cranking out great OCS titles, even though the system seems to be changing relatively significantly, I think, to make it maybe faster playing or maybe more appealing. I don't know what the thinking is there, but it's pretty cool. Revolution Games has got great stuff. So there's a lot of great games. In fact, tonight I was just talking to Kyle, who has his own channel, and he was saying how Worthington Games are doing some really cool things with American Civil War games. That's awesome, right? There's lots of good stuff. Anyway, I'm running out of voice. I gotta go. I'm gonna go relax and go eat some dinner. I hope you guys have and girls. Oh, by the way, thank you to the 9% of people that follow the big board that are female. Rock on. I'm glad to see some more female followers and participants in the community, or whatever, the page following, whatever that is. That's up from 2%. So that's a significant change in the demographic of our community. And it goes back to that young English chap, boy who's 12 or 13 or however old he is, introducing people to the game miniatures and wargaming. Anyone can be a wargamer if they're interested in the history and the mechanics and the gameplay. Don't be afraid to jump in and have a look at it. And we should be open and encouraging to those people. That doesn't mean that you get to build and make sloppy, crappy games that are not good. It just means that we want to open our kimono and let new players in and let them join the club. I'll use that term loosely, of war gamers, and we want them to experience them. And the more crossover games we have, the better. The more meaty games we have, the better. I'm all for it. I love all types of games, mostly. So anyway, all right, I'll shut up. Later. Talk to you soon. Where is the end button? Goodbye.